So if you lived in Massachusetts on the East Coast this past week, it was tough. We had a nor'easter come through that we hadn't seen in almost 10 years. As a matter of fact, the nor'easter was so bad, it reminded me of the blizzard that we had about 9 years ago, where we lost power for almost 5 days. So after losing power for 5 days, being on a well, no running water, no heat, 2 small children, it was tough. It was very tough. And shortly thereafter, we bought a generator. And let me tell you something, that generator saved my bacon this time around. We lost power for 3 days, but it was like we never even skipped a beat. And that's one of the things that I wanted to kind of talk about today and kind of share, because I got a ton of questions from, friends and clients and whatnot. I had a lot of conversations this past week. Everybody's talking about generators and, what is the most cost-efficient way to do it and, the best way to do it and how do you hook it up and the whole 9 yards. So I thought I'd just share my setup because I seem to have a lot of conversations this week about it. So this is the beast that powered my house for 3 days. It's a portable generator. It is maximum 8750, 7,000 running watts. My house is about 1,700 square feet, 4 bedrooms, 2 refrigerators. It is run by propane, actually at an underground propane tank way out in the distance. That runs a lot of my appliances. So one of the things that we did was we converted the generator to propane. So it was originally a gas generator. We put a kit on it, converted it to propane. Nowadays you can buy them. This generator is probably about 8 years old. So you can buy them already converted to propane now. You don't have to do it as you don't have to do the conversion kit, which makes life so much easier. But once it's converted to propane, I was actually able to have the gas company run a line from the regulator on the house right out to the back of the generator. So once I turn the propane on from the main tank, this thing has a continuous supply of fuel. The tank underground, it's one of those big submarine tanks, 500 gallons. I'm not running out at all. It's electric start. We got the battery. Just put a push button on there, electric start, and we're off to the races. To connect it to the house, I have this super heavy gauge 30 amp cable. Let me tell you, this sucker is heavy. This plugs in to the generator here, and then this plugs into the house. So I run it all the way over here. This part we had an electrician install this switch, this 30 amp plug, and I just plug it right in there, and then this is connected to the main panel. So I'm going to show you that real quick. And like I said, I had a lot of questions, had a lot of conversations over this past week. People are interested in how I have this set up. Disregard my my very cluttered basement. So in the basement, you'll see in the panel the plug is run right to the panel. We've got these 2 fuses right here are specifically for the generator. Now, how does it work with the panel? I have an interlock switch. And the interlock switch are these 2 components. And basically what the interlock switch does is it prevents the fuses, the circuit breakers, not the fuses, I'm dating myself, the circuit breakers for the generator, it prevents them from being turned on at the same time as the street power. So the street power is on now. When the power goes off, I flick this over, this piece flicks up, which will allow this to flip up. See, right now it won't go up because this is in the way, because the power's on. Once that's out of the way, this will flip up, and then I can turn on the circuit breakers from the generator, and then I control what I turn on my house. And I have to tell you, I run pretty much everything. I do have a well pump. I have 2 refrigerators. I do have, the stove is propane, the gas dryer is propane. I have a mini split system with 2 condensers and 5 heads. It runs that. All the basics. So if I have internet and power, if I have internet service and Wi-Fi, it's like I'm not skipping a beat. I don't lose connectivity at all. The one thing that you just have to take into consideration is that by having that generator on, and what's different from this system versus a standard backup generator, standby generator rather, is when the power is restored, I don't have any idea. I have to watch a street light. I have to watch the neighbors. I have to keep an eye on it. Every now and then I turn everything down and switch the breaker off or whatnot, or Eversource will send me a notice to let me know that it was back on or something of that nature. I did turn it off. I ran it continuously 12 hours at a time. I did shut it down at night, and that's primarily because of the enclosure. And that's my next step. After losing power for 3 days, and it seems like we're losing power more frequently in our neighborhood. So one of the things that I'm planning to do is do some upgrades to the generator shed. Now, one of the next steps that I'm planning to do is upgrading this storage shed, and I've watched a ton of YouTube videos and different things I can do to it to deal with heat and exhaust. I ran it essentially the way it is now. The doors were propped open. The lid was open, which is fine when it's not, heavy snow and heavy wind, or excuse me, heavy rain. But once the rain starts to come down or your heavy snow, this is not going to be good for the generator. So the whole idea is to get it so that you can close the box up, and there are a multitude of ways to do that. Putting in, different vents on this side, putting in an exhaust, and you can actually see, it's a little bit, the plastic is a little bit charred over there. I checked it on a regular basis to make sure it wasn't too hot. It's a little bit, like I said, it's a little bit warped, and that's from the exhaust. So I've got to vent the exhaust out, and I've actually bought a fan that I'm going to put right here, just a 12-volt attic fan I'm going to put here to help draw cross ventilation. I'll put a regular 16-inch fan vent here to allow cool air to come in, and then the attic fan will draw that warm air out. That'll help with the cross flow of keep the heat down. But what I'm also going to do is add some hardy backing, some fireproof hardy backing to the inside of this, just to give it a little bit more. And the reason being is I want to be able to run this thing 24 hours. I know it'll take it, and I know it can be done. I've seen this particular model running. I've seen other models running 24 hours, 48, 36, 72 hours, no problem at all. It's just got to be ventilated properly and in a cool enough environment. That's how I dealt with no power for 3 days, and it worked out really, really well. Like I said, I've had the generator for quite a few years and haven't used it as much as I did this past week continuously. And just thought I'd shoot a quick video because, like I said, I had a lot of conversations from, my whole area. Plymouth was 92% without power for days. And so it was a really, really intense nor'easter. So if you have any questions whatsoever, drop a comment below, reach out to me direct, and happy to have a conversation about, your questions or if you have any experiences of your own with portable generators. And stay safe, stay warm, and we'll talk to you soon.